Hi friends, I am here again. Now we will discuss about the infratemporal fossa. So infratemporal fossa is an irregular shaped cavity situated below and medial to zygomatic arch and medial to mandible. You can see here on the right side the norma basalis view of skull. You can see that outline of infratemporal fossa, and here in norma lateralis you can see it lies medial to mandible. Coming to the boundaries, it is like a box. It has 6 boundaries: anteriorly posterior surface of the body of the maxilla, posteriorly you will see external acoustic meatus, superiorly the infratemporal surface of greater wing of sphenoid bone, inferiorly is open and continues with the space of the neck, whereas medially it is bound by lateral surface of lateral trigmoid plate, laterally by the ramus of mandible. So you can see here these are the boundaries, and you can see the outline of the infratemporal fossa there. You can see mandible is there. We have removed the mandible here. So mandible forms the lateral boundary. Anteriorly posterior surface of the body of the maxilla, medially lateral surface of lateral trigmoid plate, posteriorly external acoustic meatus, superiorly greater wing of sphenoid, and lateral ramus of mandible. Coming to the contents, remember the rule of 3. It has 3 muscles, 3 neural structures and 3 vascular structures. 3 muscles are tendon of temporalis, not temporalis, tendon of temporalis, lateral and medial trigmoid. Nerves are mandibular, quad tympani, otic ganglion. 3 vascular are maxillary artery and its branches, and part of maxillary vein and trigmoid venous plexus. You can remember like that. Rule of 3. 3 muscles. In muscles, remember tendon of temporalis is there, not temporalis. Tendon of temporalis comes here, and you can see the nerves: mandibular nerve, quad tympani, and medial to trunk of mandibular nerve. You will see otic ganglion there. You can see the stellate shaped ganglion. And coming to the muscles, first we will remove the masseter muscle there. Then you will see temporalis there, tendon of temporalis inserting into the coronoid process and anterior surface of the ramus of the mandible. And when you take out the mandible and expose the fossa in dissection, you will see these 2 muscles, medial and lateral pterygoid. You can see the medial pterygoid coming from the medial surface of the lateral trigmoid plate and maxillary tuberosity. Both the heads run downwards vertically and insert into the medial surface of the angle of the mandible, whereas that is lateral trigmoid. Upper head come from the sphenoid, lower head come from the lateral surface of lateral trigmoid plate. You can see the upper head, and both the heads join and form a tendon, insert into the pterygoid fovea there in front of temporomandibular joint. You can see the temporalis there, and how the tendon of temporalis is inserting by passing medial to zygomatic arch. And when you take out the zygomatic arch and mandible, like in dissection, you will see these 2 muscles: medial pterygoid coming from medial surface of the lateral trigmoid plate and maxillary tuberosity, vertical muscle, vertically aligned you can say, and inserts into the medial side of the angle of the mandible. Lateral trigmoid has 2 heads, upper head and lower head. Upper head from the sphenoid or the roof of the infratemporal fossa, and lower head come from lateral surface of lateral trigmoid plate. Remember 4 L's. Lower head of lateral trigmoid come from lateral surface of lateral trigmoid plate, 4 L's, and inserts into the pterygoid fovea. And when you see in the animation here, if you zoom, we are just exposing this one. Masseter is there coming from the zygomatic arch, inserting into the lateral surface of the ramus of the mandible, having superficial deep fibers, and we are exposing the platysma attached to the mandible, and then we will take out the mandible to expose the infratemporal fossa. Infratemporal fossa will be here, irregular shaped cavity like a box. Imagine like a box, 6 surfaces. And during dissection, what we do, we cut the zygomatic arch like this on either side of the origin of masseter, so that we can have the exposure of temporalis. Then we cut the mandible like this. We cut the coronal process and retract temporalis upwards, so that we can expose these 2 muscles there with other contents. We are just showing you the muscles here. You can see there. So coming to the contents here, you can see if you go like this, you will see the tendon of temporalis there. That is the tendon of temporalis coming medial to zygomatic arch. We have removed the this ramus of the mandible, and you can see temporalis outline is there coming from the floor of temporal fossa and temporal fascia. Anterior fibers vertical, posterior fibers horizontal, and this is medial trigger, vertically aligned muscle. And you can see the origin of this medial pterygoid muscle, left side. We can see here it comes from the medial surface of the lateral pterygoid plate and also maxillary tuberosity. You can see both the heads are joining in a Y shape and inserting into the medial surface of the angle of the mandible. Medial trigger is a masticatory muscle. It helps in protraction and side to side lateral movement of the mandible. Now you can see the bony landmarks of origin. You can see the maxillary tuberosity here, posterior surface of the body of maxilla, and here you can see medial surface of lateral pterygoid plate. And when you turn the mandible here, you can see the insertion, blue colored area. There is the insertion of the medial pterygoid muscle. And coming to the action, it helps in this lateral movements, side to side movement of the mandible and protraction. The anterior movement of the mandible is called as protraction, whereas retraction is by the posterior fibers of temporalis. Now we'll come to the one more key muscle of this region, lateral pterygoid. There's lateral pterygoid plate, green thing. Now you can see this yellow color structure highlighted, lateral pterygoid muscle, key muscle of this region, surrounded by pterygoidvenous plexuses. And you can see it also has two heads, upper head and lower head. Upper head come from the sphenoid or the roof, which we call it as infratemporal surface of greater ring of sphenoid, whereas the lower head come from lateral surface of lateral pterygoid plate. I told you to remember 4 L's. Here you can see this greenish area, that is medial pterygoid muscle, origin there. So lateral head of lateral pterygoid come from, lower head of lateral pterygoid come from lateral surface of lateral pterygoid plate and inserting pterygoid fovea, and this tendon will continue as articular disc dividing the joint into 2 cavities above and below as shown there. Coming to the action, it also same like medial pterygoid, helps in protraction and side to side movements of the jawbone. Basically these all are masticatory muscles derived from the first arch. That's why they are supplied by the mandibular nerve, which is the nerve of the first arch. Coming to the main content here, maxillary artery. It is one of the terminal branches of the external carotid. You can see external carotid is a branch of common carotid at the level of the superior border of third cartilage. You can see internal carotid artery there and external carotid. External carotid will divide into a smaller superficial temporal which enters into temporal fossa, and a larger one maxillary artery which enters infratemporal fossa through the parotid gland between the neck of the mandible and sphenomandibular ligament below auriculotemporal nerve. And this lateral pterygoid divides it into 3 parts. Maxillary artery is divided by the lateral pterygoid, lower end of lateral pterygoid, into 3 parts: mandibular, pterygoid, and pterygopalatal divisions, or first part, second part, and third part. First part gives 5 branches there. Remember them as dami. You can see deep auricular, anterior tympanic, middle meningeal passing through foramen ovale there, behind foramen ovale, external meningeal passing through foramen ovale, and inferior alveolar. So 5 branches, dami, D-A-M-A-I, remember like that. And second part gives muscular branches, mesenteric, temporal and pterygoid branches, and also buccal artery. So these all are muscular branches, you can remember the muscles. And third part gives 6 branches supplying the orbit and maxilla. 6 branches are posterior superior alveolar artery, infraorbital artery, greater palatine artery, pharyngeal artery, artery of pterygoid canal, and sphenopalatine artery. Remember them as PIG PAS, P-I-G, P-A-S. 6 branches. They supply mainly this palate and orbit maxilla, and mandibular nerve enters the fossa via foramina ovale. It has a trunk and 2 divisions. You can see 2 branches coming from the trunk. Now to medial trigmoid and meningeal branch which enters the foramina spinosum immediately after its origin. And now to medial trigmoid supplies medial trigmoid, tensor tympani and tensor palatii, 3 muscles, remember that. And anterior division gives all the muscular branches except the buccal, mesenteric and temporal nerve are motor, whereas buccal is sensory branch supplying the skin over the buccinate, skin covering the skin and mucosa covering the buccinator, whereas posterior division gives all sensory branches except inferior which is mixed. It gives 3 branches, remember as Ali, auriculotemporal, lingual and inferior. You can see auriculotemporal nerve has 2 roots surrounding the middle meningeal artery there, entering foramina spinosum along with the middle meningeal nerve coming from the trunk. Auriculotemporal nerve supplies the posterior part of the temporal fossa and gland, and you can see inferior nerve. It enters the mandible via mandibular foramina and continue there. You can see inferior nerve. It supplies the lower jaw and it will end as mental nerve coming out of the mental foramina. And then you can see here again, you can see the inferior nerve is cut there, and thin branch coming from this inferior is nerve to mylohyoid. Nerve to mylohyoid supplies 2 muscles, mylohyoid and anterior belly of digastric, because they are also derived from the first arch. This is lingual nerve, and you can see a ganglion suspending from the lingual nerve, that is submandibular ganglion. Lingual nerve it carries the general sensation from the anterior two-thirds of the tongue and floor of the mouth. It is joined by chorda tympani nerve there. Chorda tympani coming out of the middle ear via petrotympanic fissure. You can see there. It is a branch of facial nerve given in the middle ear, 6 mm above the stylomuscular foramina. It carries the taste sensation from the anterior two-thirds and also carries the preganglionic fibers from the superior salivary nucleus, lacrimal nucleus, giving it to the glands, submandibular gland and lingual glands. You can see there. This is how it carries the taste sensation by joining with the branch of trigeminal, that is lingual nerve. You can see the chorda tympani there, a slender branch joining at an acute angle in the infratemporal fossa. That's about it. Thank you.